about to bring his ass to this ring. Give me a hell yeah!
And we're back once again for more Insider Pro Wrestling. I'm WB Ward.
And straight from the 918, Chip Douglas.
Yeah. Oh, listen to you. Oh, aren't we urban? Straight from the 918. Ooh, get down with Joe Diggy's.
It's better than the 405.
Yeah, but the 405.
Oklahoma City.
Oh. Okay, for those of you who don't live in Oklahoma, that's just some friendly rivalry, the Turnpike rivalry we have going on.
Yes.
Okay, we've got a lot to cover today, and only about 30 minutes or so to hit all the topics. So let's go ahead and start. We got a big pay-per-view coming up. Now, as we're recording this, the pay-per-view is going to be tomorrow on WWE. The pay-per-view is called Payback. And you know, that would be so nice if that were true, because after all this time and all this money people have spent going to pay-per-views, it's about time we had wait a minute, it's not kind of a payback. Okay. Okay, we have some big matches here, so let's go over.
Well, before we do that, okay. we just want to clarify for people that that we are setting up this podcast radio show for everyone to listen to.
Yes.
And we are becoming interactive in the social media market. So you can follow us on Twitter. We do have the Twitter set up.
What's the Twitter address?
The Twitter address is SCI_wrestling. Squared Circle Insider Wrestling is a lot for Twitter, since it can be only a certain amount of characters. So to make it easy for everybody, it's SCI, it's all capitalized there, _wrestling on Twitter. You can also find us on YouTube, which our shows will be uploaded on YouTube as well, at awesome. SCI Wrestling, all one word. And then also our Facebook page, Squared Circle Insider Wrestling.
Wow. Oh. It's been a long time since I've been in the studio. Yeah, let's keep that.
We'll keep that in. We'll keep it in.
Well, I'll try not to let it out.
It's an Easter egg for everyone. So I was doing a little research.
Right.
Actually this morning, got up early, and 20 years ago yesterday.
Yeah.
Was to 1993 King of the Ring pay-per-view.
Was that the first one?
Well, technically it wasn't the first one. Cause there were a couple of King of the Rings back in the 80s. And then they gone away from the King of the Ring, and then they brought it back. So it was the first one, from I guess you can call it the revival of the King of the Ring.
Now, who was the winner of this one?
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to say Lawler.
No. Well, it's funny you say that, because that was actual Lawler's first. I'm not sure if it was his first appearance, but was his first rivalry was with Bret Hart, and it started at the King of the Ring. So it started at the crowning ceremony where Bret Hart was getting crowned as the King of the Ring, and that's when Lawler appeared on WWE to start their long rivalry, which was, oh gosh, I think it was over a year and a half. Of course, they had a lot of legendary matches. And one of my favorites was the Kiss My Foot match, which you got to see Bret Hart stuff his foot, barefoot in Jerry Lawler's mouth. So that was always entertaining. But the real big thing about this King of the Ring was actually the main event,
which was
Yokozuna versus Hulk Hogan.
Oh my gosh!
Hulk Hogan's last match with WWE before he jumped ship.
You know, I think if I ever wrestled Yokozuna, that would also be my last match. That's a big boy.
Oh man, do you remember when he came out? I mean, he was just larger than life.
In several ways.
And then he had the bonsai drop, which, me being a little bit younger, and back then being in, the third grade, seeing him sit on someone was just, traumatizing for me.
Yes, I'm sure it would be. Now, the stink face, that was done by,
Rikishi.
Wasn't Rikishi related to that guy? Somehow?
Yes, yeah. They were related to some degree. And of course, they're all also related to The Rock, too.
That's true. Yeah, I know Rikishi and The Rock are related. So,
yeah.
Wow. Well, the pro wrestling world is really a world of families.
Right.
Because there are a lot of families in it. They certainly hand down this art.
Oh, absolutely.
From generation to generation. Okay. So would that also be our tweet of the week? Yeah,
the tweet of the week, since we do have the Twitter, set up for us. I'm going to read off the tweet.
The twit?
the tweet, for you. And I'd like for you to, guess who it could be.
Okay.
All right. So the tweet is, rolling out of bed, a.m. cardio on an empty stomach. Let's do 40 minutes steady state with average heart rate of 135 and 150. And don't forget to pee.
Well, I was going to say that doesn't sound like me until you got to that one, to the last part. I have to write myself a memo on that too. Are we talking male or female?
Male.
This is a male.
That's, I mean, if it's a female, that'd be.
Yeah. That's got to be Cena.
No.
No?
No, close.
Rock?
The Rock. Yeah.
That's a pretty stringent regiment there.
When I read that, it was just, don't forget to pee, It's like, oh yeah. Can't forget to do that.
Well, I guess there's a reason why he's called The Rock. Okay, let's, moving along now. I was mentioning the pay-per-view tomorrow, Payback. What we're looking at here is a total of what? 4 big matches, but that's not all the matches they're going to have, is it?
No. There's a couple other matches that are going to be on the pay-per-view. We're going to highlight some of the big ones here in the next segment. But you got the undercard, which we talked about briefly. The women's title with Caitlyn and AJ, which I do see AJ actually winning that match.
Okay. But also coming up within the show, we're going to be talking about some of the old territories.
Absolutely.
Since we were discussing that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
And so this is actually going to be kind of almost a retrospect, almost a history, as it were, of wrestling in general.
Right. It's going to give us a good idea of the the bigger territories, and it's not going to go. We're not going to do all the territories because we'd be here for about 5 hours. But we're going to hit, according to this article, the top 5 biggest territories, and be able to rattle off and reminisce some of the bigger names that lived in these territories, or at least got their start in these territories.
Why do you think we will ever revert back to the territorial of wrestling, or is that pretty much gone?
much as I wish that it would happen? No.
Yeah.
It won't happen. I mean, I've always thought that it would be such an incredible business move by Vince McMahon to go ahead and, since he has all the talent, he has all the money, just go ahead and just do smaller territories anyways. Have the New York market, have the Florida market, California market, and this set up territories within WWE.
He could pretty much cover the nation just by, if he just claimed the markets, if he claimed New York, Chicago, Houston, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He would, if that's all that he did, then of course we would be looking into just an absolute huge.
And what would be amazing is the stars that he'd be able to build from those.
Yeah. There would be just an awful lot of potential that he would have.
Absolutely. Super matches. WrestleMania would be huge.
Wouldn't it though? And then of course, he could actually, they could actually do the one thing that I always wanted to see happen a long time ago between the WCW and WWF at the time. And that was kind of the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Absolutely.
Against territory against territory.
Absolutely.
And that was something we never quite got to see. If I'm not mistaken, in my headphones, I think I just heard our first hiccup. Well, the way it goes with technology, you do the best with what you got, but technology will hand you a lemon every now and then.
Yeah, we do our best.
We're going to be taking a quick break here momentarily, but please stick around. Coming up, we're going to be talking about tomorrow's pay-per-view. It's going to be Payback, and it's next right here on Insider Pro Wrestling.
You are a waste. A loser. Everyone hates you. Why don't you just stay in your car and keep driving? I'm serious. Drive until you run out of gas, then get out of your car and walk until you find someone who doesn't think you're dumber than bricks. Could take a while, but at least all that walking might burn a couple of calories.
You may not witness bullying like this every day. Your kids do. They want to help, but they don't know how. Visit stopbullying.gov to learn safe, simple ways your child can help stop bullying. Be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
If you enjoy Ward's Daily Almanac on the radio, chances are you'd love Ward's Daily Almanac in book form. Now, WB is working on this, but needs your help. To donate, search for Ward's Daily Almanac on Kickstarter.com or go to WBWard.com and click on the word Kickstarter. There you can watch a video about the project and learn about great rewards for giving. That's Kickstarter.com and search for Ward's Daily Almanac, or WBWard.com and click Kickstarter.
Feed me. Feed me more. Feed me more.
And welcome back. That, of course, is the repressive music of the one and only Ryback. Is going to be one of the dudes in tomorrow's pay-per-view. Mr. Chip, you want to start with that match, or you want to start with which one you want to start?
Yeah, let's start at the top here.
Okay.
Let's just go straight into it. The John Cena Ryback main event.
Now, this is going to be a 3 stages of hell.
And we have all the matches.
Yeah, we got the ambulance, lumberjack, and table match.
Not in that particular order.
Now, the match, as I understand this could actually end in the first stage.
No.
Well, I mean, conceivably.
What do you mean conceivably?
Well, conceivably in the first match. Well, no, wait a minute.
It's 2 out of 3 falls. Okay.
See, I thought the whole idea was the first person who gets thrown in the ambulance is done.
No, it's it's like a 2 out of 3 falls.
Okay.
And so it's you'll have the I think they have it set up where the lumberjack match is first. You have the table match second, and if they need the third one, it'll be the ambulance. Let's face facts. We're going to see the ambulance match. So we are going to see Cena win one and Ryback win one. In my opinion, we'll see Ryback win the first one, Cena make the comeback in the second one, and then overall, I think Cena will walk away from this one.
Okay, so you're thinking they're going to do the lumberjack first, you said?
Yeah, I believe it's lumberjack first, table second, and then the ambulance I think will be safe for third since they're having such a huge push with Ryback coming in on the ambulance.
Okay, now you see, here's a place where you and I are going to disagree right off the bat. I don't think the ambulance match then will ever happen. I honestly
you don't
believe
think so?
No. I think, of course, they're going to have the ambulance there in the arena for
right.
For the show and
right.
back it up with the sirens blaring and stuff, just for all the attention. But I honestly believe that in the lumberjack match, I believe Cena's going to win that one, and I believe he's also going to win the table match as well. And then that's going to be the end of it. And the only reason why I'm saying that is, when they had the supposed upset with between Rock and Cena in
right.
WrestleMania. That they put John Cena on the back burner for so long. He is now so much of a cash cow with WWE, and he makes them just a ton of money. I just don't see them allowing him to go that far and potentially lose this close to that. So I think this is going to be an easy victory for Cena, and I think that's the way their story writers are going to put that.
Well, do you really think they would squash Ryback like that? I mean, they've built him up so much to be such a monster. Do you think they would just squash him like that for him just to go out 0-2?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I really do. Part of the reason is I just don't think Ryback's that good of a.
Oh,
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now they're nowhere near the Tulsa area, are they?
Chicago.
Okay, Chicago. Okay, that's far enough away.
Right,
no, then I'll go ahead and say this. Ryback is not a very good performer. And I really don't see them pushing that. And had he been closer to this market, I would probably be more complimentive. But since he's so far away, I don't worry about it. Okay.
Do you ever think he gets full?
Probably no. I can only hope that he doesn't suffer from heartburn very often.
All right, next match. The one that I'm actually really excited about. I am crossing my fingers, hoping it's actually going to happen. Chris Jericho, CM Punk.
Okay. Okay. Let me give my prediction first on this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
CM Punk is going to be, he's going to be the face to this crowd.
Yes.
He's on his home turf. He's on his home territory. I think there's a reason why they scheduled Punk's comeback when they're in Chicago.
Makes sense.
I think Punk's going to walk away with this.
Yeah. And I do agree. I think, to me, it's not a question of who's going to win. Mm-hmm. It's what's going to happen in this match.
I wonder if Jericho is going to turn heel in this.
And that's one of the things. Is Jericho going to turn heel? Is Punk going to turn on Heyman? Could Jericho join Heyman? I don't see that happening. But I did actually just read an article this morning that Jericho's going back on tour. Mm-hmm. So he won't be here in the summer. So I think if we see anything happen,
you mean with Fozzie Bear? He's going to go on tour.
Yeah, he's going to go with Okay.
Isn't that the name of his group?
No, it's Fozzie.
Fozzie. Just Fozzie. Oh,
Fozzie, not Fozzie Bear.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Jericho, very large individual.
I just can't bear his music, so to me it's Fozzy there.
So I think the surprise that we're going to see is going to be around CM Punk and Heyman.
Okay.
It'll be really fun to see. And I think what's going to be even cooler is every time CM Punk goes to Chicago, it's a huge pop.
Okay, now let's reverse the order of these next two matches because I want to do the Shield last.
Gotcha.
Okay, Dolph Ziggler against Alberto Del Rio.
Yes.
My gosh. I mean, how long can they take this kind of a goofy premise and take it? I couldn't care less on this match.
And I agree. Well, I say that from a certain degree. I love Dolph Ziggler. I think he's awesome.
No, Dolph is great. I think he'd make an excellent face.
And I agree. But Alberto Del Rio as a face is absolutely horrendous.
No, he's horrible. And his little sidekick is nothing more than a weak kickstand on a bicycle.
But as a heel, they're great together.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty good.
They were great together as a heel.
The only redeeming factor on this match is the fact that I can watch AJ's butt as she comes to the ring.
That's true.
That's the one redeeming factor on this. So quite frankly, I don't care who wins on this, Alberto or Dolph. The way I see it, the audience is going to be the big loser on this one anyway, regardless.
Could you see maybe Big E Langston
Actually, I'm kind of I'm kind of thinking in the future what they're going to do with the storyline on that. Uh-huh. Dolph is going to become a face because he's going to catch Big E in an affair with AJ.
Ooh. See, I was thinking the opposite.
Really?
That Big E is going to turn face. Because that would be quite like a SummerSlam pay-per-view, which we have in 2 months of Big E Langston versus Dolph Ziggler for the title.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
Okay, Shield versus Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton for the tag team titles. Now, because of SmackDown from last night, I think the dynamics on this have changed just a little bit. Did you happen to catch that match?
No, I didn't.
Do you know what happened?
I watched the highlight of it.
They in fact did beat the Shield.
Yeah, it was all three of them, right? It was Kane with them.
Yep, Kane, Orton, and Bryant. Going up against all three members of the Shield, 6-man tag team. And for the first time since they brought the Shield storyline into play, the Shield not only were they defeated, but it wasn't just a simple 3 count. It was actually by submission.
Did Daniel Bryan tap someone out?
Daniel Bryan put him in his lock. I forget what the move is called. Mm-hmm. But the Shield member actually tapped out on that one.
Wow.
So this was not just they just didn't do it by a simple count. They made sure the storyline read that this guy actually submitted in that. So I'm kind of thinking we might be seeing the breakup of the Shield, and the fact that they're doing the tag team tomorrow just as the traditional 2-man tag kind of tips the hand to me a little bit that the Shield may in fact be breaking up. Now, who do you see walking away with the titles on this one?
I still see the Shield coming out with the titles. Don't see Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton carrying over with the titles because I see such a huge push for Daniel Bryan.
Right.
More than anything, I can see another turn here, and I can see Randy Orton turn heel in this match.
Okay, and that could be, and I think the third member of the heel. I think the third member of the Shield is going to be kind of left out in the cold, and that's why I'm kind of thinking the breakup is imminent of the Shield. Because don't forget the Shield member who tapped out is not one of the two who's wrestling tomorrow in the pay-per-view.
Oh, okay.
So I am kind of under the belief that what we're looking at here is a possible end to that lame, goofy storyline that they've had.
Come on. That was the best gimmick they've came up with in a couple of years.
Ever since the Brood, when the Brood was introduced, they would walk in from the crowd, and I'm sorry, I'm just not into that. I don't know. Well, stick around. We got some talk of the territories, the old school wrestling next.
Welcome to today's lottery drawing. And today's winning numbers are not yours, not yours, and another number that's not yours. And the final number is not yours.
When it comes to having money, don't rely on luck. Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
If you enjoy Ward's Daily Almanac on the radio, chances are you'd love Ward's Daily Almanac in book form. And WB is working on this, but needs your help. To donate, search for Ward's Daily Almanac on Kickstarter.com or go to WBWard.com and click on the word Kickstarter. There you can watch a video about the project and learn about great rewards for giving. That's Kickstarter.com and search for Ward's Daily Almanac, or WBWard.com and click Kickstarter.
Man, that brings back some memories of
yes,
Skandar Akbar and all the old timers. That, of course, is the music from the classic Four Horsemen. Who would name the original Four Horsemen?
Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, and Tully Blanchard.
How many horsemen have there been all around?
Oh, jeez.
There's been enough for a herd.
Well, I do remember Paul Roma, which was exactly. Do you remember WWE? He was a WWE jobber, and WCW hired him to be the next Four Horsemen. So they set up this huge deal of the revealing of the next great horseman. Ended up being Paul Roma. I've heard like an interview with Arn Anderson and Ric Flair, and both of them were just like, we even thought it was a joke.
Yeah. Okay, we're looking at. Excuse me. We're looking at the top 5 territories back from the day. Now, what do you got on that?
What we have is number 5, Continental Wrestling Association, which did revolve around the Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi markets, and CWA, and it was actually the Jeff Jarrett organization.
Okay, and who are some of the big stars that came out? Because to be quite honest with you, until I saw your rundown, I don't remember ever hearing of the CWA.
Yeah, well, the CWA was Lawler.
Okay.
And no way about it. It was Jerry Lawler's territory. He was there for decades. Still runs a show there to this day in the Memphis area.
Does he?
Yeah, and he was the man in that area. So
I wonder if he could use a pair of handsome commentators.
I would take it. Jimmy Valiant. I know Kamala, the big god and giant. King Kong Bundy. Randy Savage, Jimmy Hart, and a very, very young Jeff Jarrett were also all there in the organization at some point.
Wow, lots of history.
And one of my favorite ones of them all, Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman was part of that?
Yes, he was back in the I think it was the early 80s, late 70s when they did the Kaufman Lawler angle, which the famous Letterman slap. When Lawler slapped Andy Kaufman and David Letterman shows. But that all took place in that territory.
And to this day, that Letterman incident has been debated over whether or not that was staged or was that a real slap.
Well, in the movie Man on the Moon, which is a movie based off Andy Kaufman's life, it was made to believe that it was all made up. Okay. It was not a shoot.
What?
Yeah.
Pro wrestling? Something made up?
It was.
What?
It was not real.
Wow. Okay. That's number 5, Continental Wrestling Association. Featuring Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Mississippi. Okay, what's next?
Next 4? One on the list is Championship Wrestling from Florida. This is the CWF. Founder in this one was Cowboy Clarence. I never actually heard his name before. Lilroy in 1949.
Okay.
But more than anything, this was really designed by Eddie Graham, who is a big promoter in the Florida area. He was part of the NWA Association, and he took over that territory, and he's the one that really made it to what it was. Some of the big stars that came out of there, that's where Dusty Rhodes got his start, to my knowledge. If he didn't get a start there, he was a huge star there. Jack Briscoe.
Oh, from the Briscoe brothers.
From the Briscoe brothers. A very young Lex Luger.
Wow.
Barry Windham. Who was a horseman. Actually, Lex Luger was too. Boris Malenko, who is Dean Malenko's father. I'm sorry, Boris Malenko is Dean Malenko's father.
Okay.
And then Eddie Graham and Kevin Sullivan.
Okay. Number 3.
The AWA, the American Wrestling Association.
Now, this one I'm familiar with.
Yes, up in the Minnesota.
Yes. Wasn't that Vern Gagne and Nick Bockwinkel?
Yes, yeah. Okay. Vern Gagne, Nick Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel was, well, both of them are kind of like the stars of the organization more than anything. Mm-hmm. What's really, the really great story about the AWA is they are the ones that discovered the immortal Hulk Hogan. And
wow, talk about a find.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, as the story goes, of course, there's 2 sides to every story.
Sure.
Vern Gagne wasn't willing to give up the top spot for Hogan, and so that's when Hogan decided to take his talents elsewhere to the WWF.
Okay, wow. And that was such a crowning achievement, getting the Hulk.
Oh, man.
Okay. Number 2.
The Worldwide Wrestling Federation, WWWF.
Yeah, that's right. There was an extra W in there.
Yes, there was an extra W back when Vince McMahon Sr., who was the one that ran this. He isn't the one that founded it. Jess McMahon is the one that founded it, but Vince McMahon Sr. was the one that ran it, and then of course Vince McMahon Jr. took it over.
Yeah.
And what ended up becoming WWF.
Man. I mean, that was a hallmark, but what was interesting to me was that did not make the number 1.
Nope.
The number 1 list on the all-time territories. The number 1 goes to
Jim Crockett Promotions, which is the big one of the NWA. Jim Crockett Promotions was Jim Crockett Sr., who founded it in 1931. He was a promoter, promoted baseball, concerts, all kinds of stuff like that in the Carolinas. They joined the NWA in 1952. And then became a real big force within professional wrestling, especially back then in the territory days.
Now, tell me something. Why is it? I think, and I got a feeling I'm terribly wrong. But my mind is tying Jim Cornette in along with Jim Crockett. Is that just, am I doing that just because of the similarity of the name, or is there a tie there?
Well, yeah, it's just similarity.
Okay.
I mean, Jim Cornette was there for a while.
In other words, I'm an eminent moron. Okay, I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah,
okay.
he was there. He was definitely there for the time, especially with the Midnight Express.
Right.
In the mid to late 80s. But Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, was there quite frequently. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Magnum TA. Did you ever hear a story about Magnum TA?
No.
Magnum TA was a superstar in the making. Absolutely phenomenal character. Had the look. He had the charisma, and unfortunately he got into a car accident, and paralyzed him, so he wasn't able to wrestle ever again. It was an unfortunate story because he would have been an absolutely huge star, and he was to a certain degree, but he would have been an even huger star in the late 80s, early 90s. And of course, one of my favorites of all time, Sting, came from that area.
Now, is that when he started with the grease paint, or was that later?
No, he was there. He was with the grease paint. Actually, WCCW, which you should be very familiar with that one.
Yes, I am.
Down in the Dallas area.
Yes. That's where the old Sportatorium, and
yeah, that's where Sting, I believe, got his start with the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, and a little bit, if you'll forgive me for being narcissistic, the reason why Chip was saying I should be familiar with that is because, well, you tell him. I don't want to toot my horn. What the hell with that? I will toot my horn. Because I actually was a ring announcer for World Class Championship Wrestling whenever they came up into Oklahoma. And that was just an awesome experience. One of the first wrestlers I ever introduced was the Missing Link. And at the time, I didn't know who the heck he was. And I just saw his name on the card, and I was standing in the middle of the ring, and I'm just waiting for the next guys to come out. And all of a sudden, here comes this great big bald-headed green guy. And, yeah, I've never felt so intimidated in all of my life. That was my introduction to pro wrestling right there.
And of course, Crockett Promotions started the Four Horsemen, which we're very excited about, because stay tuned for next week, because we will give some of our opinions about the top factions that ever existed in professional wrestling.
Top factions, yes. Okay. Yeah, and there certainly have been a lot of those throughout the years. A lot of them have come and gone. And at the time, it's funny how many of them can be just completely forgotten.
Looks like we're done here.
Just about.
We'll remind people of our Twitter capital SCI_Wrestling, YouTube, SCI Wrestling, and then our Facebook page, Squared Circle Insider Wrestling, and also look for our shows to be broadcasting on iTunes, and also Sketcher Radio.
So be listening at a computer near you for the next episode of SCI Wrestling.